But you would be like, okay, you make all this money, why do you eat out? Understanding him, his parents are always working. They always ordered in. He's got a taste for outside food. He's got a taste for immediate meals. That's how he was raised. At 50 something years old, the man. Always talking about going to fucking binging on one restaurant for a certain period of time, then moving on to another fast food restaurant, that sort of thing. Makes Jeff got a bunch of money, okay? Loves Taco Bell. But if you don't understand where he came from, you wouldn't understand why he is the way he is. And subsequently, the same man, I seen a video, it was like, bro, that shit make pasta. But if you come from a thing like my mother, always cooking, always making meals. You get a man who came from that sort of situation, then no, he's not fine with McDonald's every day, and he's not fine with one standard meal. I'm not saying you need to elevate your cooking, but you could consider at least his favorite dish and try to work on it if you care, if things is working out the way things need to be working out. I think, a good relationship is about not even compromise, but just about the understanding of who you have, who you're dealing with, who you want to be with, who you respect, who you love. That's the thing about the damn Jewish people. Charlotte converted, learned how to make challah bread. You know what I mean? Things like that. She loved Harry, and Harry loved her. I don't know if they're gonna make it in this new season of and just like that, because Charlotte always been beside herself in her ideals. But that's a separate conversation. That's a separate conversation. But I think I'm gonna head out. Hopefully y'all got something. Because like the girl was saying yesterday, being responsible, and that's the difference between, let's say, I keep talking about Kanye West, but it's such a, like I said, imagine it's not talking about whatever. But he is not known for his opinions. Through his talents, he has expressed his ideas and people respond to that, but he is in no way a role model. I am not a role model, but I am on my platform expressing opinions that are, in my opinion and in my hope, that are insightful and encouraging. I am extremely mindful of the things I say. I am extremely mindful of the intention behind my words. I'm not, did I say that already? I'm not saying I'm a role model, but there's something, I take pride in my opinions, but caution in the way I present them. And that's the responsibility I have in putting myself out here, not for the talents, you know what I mean? Because when I get on, we get on here and I do all sorts of things. Like, my platform is the target of TikTok. You come for one thing and you leave with a bunch of things. But different than Kanye West, who was an artist. I find I get on here, and when I start to connect with the people and communicate with the people, I have to be more mindful than somebody like Kanye West, who is completely separate from immediate interaction with the folks. Like, if y'all was just listening to the music, not music, if y'all was just watching the makeup videos, that'd be something different. If y'all just like the tea videos, that'd be something different. If I came on here and only did things like that, that would be something different. But because we talk about from everything from the rooter to the tutor, I have to be cautious because, one, I want, that's just me, is the whole, fake therapist, fake relationship expert, all these things. I'm not certified in nothing, but that is another reason too why I'm mindful about the things I say, because in sharing my insightful information or my perspective might be enlightening to somebody else. If someone pulls away from their family due to them being toxic, how would you approach that? When they say communication is key, that's just not a what's the word, y'all? That's just not something people say. I mean, that's a major thing. If the person that you are in a relationship with or you care about from a friendship or a romantic level pulls away from the family, if you are always in communication and you have a good relationship with your family because you were raised differently, then that's not something you would, one, identify or even understand. So you always want to come from a place of understanding if you care. So you just say, in learning that person, I mean, the addressing is different because it could be, whoever is in the family as a whole, or one specific person and things like that. You will learn that in communicating with the person. Like I said, you want to see how somebody's relationship is with their mother, see how relationship is with their parents, see how relationship is with their siblings. And then you just get to understand how that person is like that. If you don't want to be around your family because they're toxic, then you might shut down when we get into an argument. You know what I'm saying? So that sort of, I need to understand this to better understand that. And that's just a communication. That's getting to know you, getting to know all about you, getting to like you, getting to know you like me. That song, whatever. Cliche is the word I'm looking for. But not necessarily a red flag, especially because that's people's personal experience. And everybody's not like you. Everybody's not raised like you. Everybody doesn't have the same mentality as you. And if you open yourself up to be in relationships, you have to open yourself up to that understanding that people are not cut from the same cloth as you. And if you like somebody, if they're attractive, if they got things going for themselves, or you just click and vibe, and you want to get to know that person, those are the things that come into getting to know somebody, not just on a sexual level or anything like that. No, you're not. No, we're not going to my parents. No, we're not going to this. And then it's like, oh, why? What's the what are the things? How did it get to that level? Why? Who do you think is the ringleader of the toxic? You know what I mean? If it wasn't like this, would you think it would be like that? Conversations like that, just to get a better understanding. And hopefully, and that's the thing about the person identifying in themselves that, okay, a change or even addressing the issue, wants to discuss it and communicate that, because that's how you overcome, that's how you work through that sort of thing. Absolutely. But the person has to want it. It's like, I don't people are stuck in there, but I'm always late and I don't like meeting new people and that sort of thing. It's like there's things behind those characteristics that require some understanding of the individual. But if you're not willing to address that, then I might be wasting my time expecting you to be not like me, but at least open with it. Because if you talk about how your mother was like this and your dad did these things, then I can at least respect where you're coming from with that, and not respect where you're coming from with that, and not expect you to be doing things that I would be familiar with because I have a great relationship with my parents. You know what I mean? Like I said, I like to be cautious, and because of my experience, and then I think too, just the way my brain is set up, to sit, think, and process. I sit and overthink. And like I said, so many things make sense. You grew up watching Judge Judy. You know what I mean? Forensic shows. You understand the things that make sense. Or even, like I said, listening and watching and sharing my opinion, essentially, on other people's relationships, and just seeing that sort of interaction lends itself to my perception. So, like I said, I'm matter of fact in the things I say, but very cautious of that. Cautious of putting that out there, but I'm also matter of fact. Like I said, I don't promote breakups and I don't promote, that sort of thing. But what I do promote is self-awareness and not being apologetic. So for me, those things go together and play a factor in my delivery of this kind of information. Or even when I do the tea. Well, the tea is something different. It's just, all around information. And I, present it in a way that's insightful, enlightening, and entertaining. But if we sit here talking about relationships, like I said, I'm not going to sit down here and just dog men. I'm not going to sit down here and dog women. I'm not going to sit around here and be like, misogynistic in the sense that women should be and they shouldn't, and barefoot. But we're not doing that either. Not that I'm a role model, but I would like my advice, my opinions, my rhetoric to be respected. Not just, he talking crazy, he sounds stupid. I don't never want to sound stupid or ignorant, like she said. But I want you to be encouraged, and be encouraged, and be maybe a little selfish too. Because like I said, you be with somebody, worrying about somebody, and then that person's not there anymore for whatever reason. They're not there, and then like, who and what are you left with? Yourself. So you got to make sure you're good. Like I said about Wendy got nice wigs over at Potomac, but her hair not right. Because her hair is a direct reflection. Like we were talking about good skin. Thank you. Diet and everything like that. Stress in your environment is your skin, but also affects your hair. And if Wendy get broke and don't got no money to get those good wigs no more, what is she left with? That hair. So you always have to take care of your hair, no matter what you're putting over top of it. Because you see it. You know what's going on. You know? You know? And as I'm looking at this, asking questions, I'm like, that's what, just reinforce the point that, if they don't want to open up, then that's a little level that you got to fall back. If they're not opening up, at some point you got to not be so available, because they're not available. Sitting here talking, and I don't know your mother's name. I don't know your first pet. You know what I'm saying? I don't know I don't know your childhood friend. It's like, okay, so now we're not really, at least if you're interested in those types of things, you're not even meeting me on my level. You're not meeting my expectations in opening and sharing information. We're not talking about personal, intimate detail. I don't need to know your social security number yet. But if you've been with somebody 6, 7, 8 years, you should have caught that. So you know what I'm saying? So that sort of thing, because it's a level of relaxation, understanding, and trust that you start to build. But that only comes with sharing information and following through with actions that the trust gets built. If I don't know you how I'm trusting you, if I don't know you how I love you, and if we display love in the same ways, then how are we even in a relationship? It's not the same. I'm just sitting here to see if y'all got any other topic. Or a question in regards to anything. Because we did. If you're just tuning in, I got on live to respond to a stitch, and I said it's just easier if I go live with it. And yeah, support the channel with the London Kelly Cash App tag. Subscribe, because eventually I will just be, not eventually, sooner rather than later, I will be doing just subscriber only lives and double tap the screen, support the channel, subscribe to the channel, do all the things. But I was responding to a stitch that I posted a video on. I said it's just easier if I respond in a live and then get some feedback, because I do like to get on here and talk with the people. Messages. And that's what I mean, like, you know. So when I get on here, get the feedback, engage with the people in response to the video. That's why I jumped on and I did this. Now, when it comes to Ayala messages, the difference in anything is the delivery. Because even like Heavenly and Contessa, Heavenly went wrong in maybe getting on her platform on YouTube and expressing her opinion on her friend's relationship. Heavenly, whatever, I'm willing to bet whatever Heavenly had to say, she didn't say to Contessa. And Contessa was okay with that to even further the relationship, but it was when she went vocal with it. So when it comes to delivery, that is where things go left. Ayala just shares things that people already probably address or understand, but in a different package. And that is what I mean by things make sense and things work. And things become cliches because they work. Communication is key. This before that, above, you know, whatever the cliche is, becomes a cliche. It gets that label because it has proven itself to be effective. Ayala, everything I done said, Ayala done said it over the course of sit, look, respond, respect. You know, I put my own twist on it. I get my own trademark terms just from me being me and things like that. And she has hers, gutter snipe and things like not today, not on my watch. You know what I'm saying? So she has her own things. But the message be the same, because the human experience is all the same. The human experience is all the same. But you know, when it comes to relationship, when you get to, does that make sense? The human experience is the same. See, here I am trying to be clear. The human experience is the same, but like I said, each individual, like I said, when you get into these relationships, there's no standard set. There's no set standard of how it should be. Like, you can't follow these guidelines that somebody else did and think that it'll work for you the same way. But the fact that, you know, we got to communicate with each other, love, and, well, not even love, because it looks like that. respect each other and appreciate each other. That's general. In any relationship, work, intimate, romantic, family, you know, your friends, those are the same. And when we lose sight of that, or when you get so selfish in a situation that it's becomes a detriment or a disservice to the person or the people that you deal with, that's kind of where the problems begin. Because I could be about me and consider you too. But when I'm all about me and consider you to be the same way about me, then I'm doing a disservice to you because I'm not allowing you to be you. Now, Snuggly, what are you saying? Sit where I speak immediately. I don't know what that means. So, yes, I do. But the one guy got on here, you're a guy, right? Snuggly, let me look at you. Oh, it's not real. I don't know if you're a real guy. But the one guy got on here and said, I would love to take you to the movies, but you can't bring your own snacks to the thing. And I thought that was funny. I got seen that the other day. But you can't bring your own snacks to the theaters. I was like, hold on now. If Snuggly is a real person, it's a sweet offer. A sweet offer. But yeah, that's, you know, the delivery is what makes the message unique, but the message generally is pretty standard. It's pretty standard. Well, that's why he said he couldn't take me to the movies. That's why he said, I would love to take you to the movies, but you can't bring your own snacks to the theater. And that's what that was just, I don't think I've heard anything like that. Sit where I speak, I've heard that before. Hey, Lady Ra. But yeah, the message, the delivery makes the message unique, and then, you know, how the person delivers. Whatever, you know, it's like your plate is low vibrational from Coach Stormy, and thank you, Autumn Sky. Your plate is low vibrational from Coach Stormy. Meanwhile, Tony Robbins will say something like, you know, be with around iron sharpen iron, you know. Stay focused, be encouraged, you know, but whatever, you know. I mean, the delivery makes the message unique, but ultimately the messages are always pretty general. Lady Ron, Autumn Sky, yeah, just coming into the tail end of conversation. Maybe you saw the video brought you in responding to a stitch that I said the response would just be better, and it has been better on the live. Make sure you subscribe so we can do this, so we can carry on these conversations. You know, it's just immediate. You get you a Lux badge, become a Lux, become part of the Lux gang. Well, you saw the video, so that's what I was just on here talking about. I said, because I be seeing that on my For You page, like, I'm talking about this, I'm live right now, and I wonder if it pushes the video out. Not really, because I don't think I've had as many people in here as I've had before, but I was like, I wonder if it'll push it out. So I'm glad that you saw the video, and that means it got to somebody. You saw the experience all the way through. But in a nutshell, in summation, identify and address the individual that you're with, and make sure it's on par with what you want to do. Equal. I heard equally yoked. That was a statement. That was a phrase I heard long, long ago. Equally yoked. Obviously, I heard it in church because I think it's a religious phrase. But I always thought it was like church, like related. Like you can only be with Kojic and Baptist be with Baptist. And, I thought it was like that. But no, honey, we got to be on the same page. And not just, what did I say? See, I forgot all my phrases. What did I say? Not a nut and a thing. That's just not what we're here to do. We're here to, grow, potentially mature in our relationship. Not living to meet your expectations, and you're not living to meet my expectations. We develop together. And sometimes that doesn't require diving all the way in and close yourself off from even the option of experiencing something more equally yoked, because you do yourself a disservice. Like I said too, once that person goes, whether that person goes to another relationship or whether that person goes into the ground, who then are you left with? So you should always be concerned about you. And in regards to that video, I shouldn't expect you to be anything other than you. I can't expect you to be like my mother because that's the only way I'm comfortable. And I can't expect you to be my father because that's the only way, I respect you. But there's nuances to that. A woman seeking a man who is a provider, and a man seeking a woman who has domestic capabilities. But I think, like I said, as I speak about it, I think it's more of an emotional void that becomes the problem in that situation. Because there's nothing wrong with a woman who cooks and cleans. He can find that. And there's nothing wrong with a woman, there's nothing wrong with a man who's looking for a woman who cooks and cleans, because he can find that. And there's nothing wrong with a woman who seeks a man who is a provider, who money's not an option, does things. But when same thing, I feel the same way about love languages. When I only need those things to even find myself suitable in this relationship, that's where it's a problem. Because that's an emotional void, an emotional issue that is not responsible, that does not fall to the other person to be responsible for. And you have to work that out why you need your back rub. And you need to work that out why you feel like everybody needs to pay your bills. You know what I mean? So you can't put that on the other person. And that's why you have to work on yourself. But like I said too, people find there's a man out here that love to pay bills because he feel like that's how a woman needs him. And there's a woman out here who only want to cook, clean, and have kids because that's the only way she feels validated. When each person could be, supportive. The man could be invested in companies since he want to be needed, and the woman could be, she could be starting a company that the man need to be invested in. Now we got other opposite people in the relationships that look better together than the people that they're in relationships with. Does that make sense? So that sort of thing. That sort of thing. And then you do find, and that's the thing too, obviously people are out here in relationships, obviously relationships are working. Hey, Chrissy. Obviously, people are in relationships and they're working and things like that, and it's just like at some level, we're on the same level. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm ready to settle down. I wish it was a onesie. This is just a hoodie from H&M. But obviously relationships are working, and people are on the same, we have the same intentions, we have the same goals. I feel like people who are in relationships that come from the same background, and there wasn't so much. They are super cute, aren't they? Who come from the same background and experiences that that they can relate to, and that withstands the relationship. You know what I'm saying? Or that kind of creates a foundation for understanding and appreciation, adoration, romance and stuff like that. But most times, people have their expectations of what something is, and that's how things, lots of relationships become one-sided, and somebody's always doing more than somebody else, and we should just be doing the same things. With the Fenty, I would like me a Fenty onesie. I want some Skims too, the fuzzy collection. Don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody I said that. Hey Cash, Shimoni Baker. I'm good. How are you today? I'm good. Fabulous. Hey, boss lady. What's up, sugar? Yeah, maybe I should have went on. No, I couldn't. I could have went on at 8, but I just wanted to jump on and say that. But this is how it always is. Listen, I love it. Is it even a lip gloss? I guess you could call it a lip gloss. The first time I had it, like 5 years ago, I got one from the hair store. It's a lip oil treatment gloss, and I loved it because it lasts. Okay. And then I said, well, let me go on and see if Amazon got it. And Amazon had like a 3-pack, so I got 2 more from the Amazon. But yeah, she's definitely effective. Got a little tingling, definitely moisturized. I went to Amazon and I put in, what is it? It's by Kiss. Kiss is name brand. RK. I put that in Amazon. I need to go on and get some of my day ones been telling me that I need to get an Amazon thing together. And I have a store front. I do. I don't have nothing in it. I'm not even sure. I don't know how to do any of that. Yeah, the kids don't know nothing. I put a couple kids on this stuff. Oh, but Kiss. No, listen. Kiss will get you where you want to go. And Kiss will do what you need it to do. For a fraction of the price of something in let's say even a drugstore. Mm-hmm. 100%. 100%. It's a whole little section. Like you at Sephora, depending on the type of hair store you go to. You got everything you need. I don't know, put the babies down. That's what I was saying. Y'all got something. I was about to get off. It's hard to say how long, because then, the family members come in from outside smoking. And now they want to see what we talking about at the table. You know, that's a metaphor. And it's hard to say. I was going to say, excuse me. I was just about to say, oh, Yiddy? I don't, what about Yiddy? I was just about to say, y'all got a topic or something from the video. I don't know, 2 hours and 34 minutes, or better than Skims. I hear good things about both. Yeah, they probably made in the same place. Istanbul, Turkey, I think, where Kim make her stuff. Probably made in the same place, same vendor. Because it ain't with so many fabrics. Stretchy fabrics at that, stretchy quality fabrics at that. They probably made in the same damn, just like makeup. Made in the same manufacturer, in the same, what the fuck is the word I'm looking for? Now don't apologize, I'm sorry. That I just wish I could say, I'm live at this time and everybody come in. But it's TikTok and everybody's doing all sorts of things, and TikTok don't always push. You know, I don't always come up in your For You pages, and that's TikTok. But factory is what I was looking for. All this shit's made in the same factory. Just when they get ready to be put in a box, they put a different label on it. Thank you, boss lady. I love a gift. And it'll be all in the same, it's all made in the same place, just with a different name on it, different sizes, different colors. It's all the same now. Same, I don't want to say sweatshop. But that's the thing too, when people talk about, you know, sweatshops and those type of labor workers, you know, they don't have fast foods. No, I don't see much about Kim's skincare as much as I see about other people's. But you know, those places over there, they don't have fast food restaurants and things like that. So, in the reverence that children have for their elders, or even wanting to be productive human beings, that starts early. You know, and the factories over there provide jobs for them. No, the conditions could be better, maybe. I've never been in a factory, but that seems to be one of the issues. Conditions, work long hours, it's hot, no windows, whatever. But it'd be hot, it's hot over there in them places, period. So it don't matter whether you got the fans, but also too, electricity, I don't know, could they be better? I don't know. But even still, with us saying, okay, they could be better, linoleum floors, central air, aerodynamic chairs. Is that aerodynamic? That's not the right word. But you know what I mean. That's Western comfort. And that's our problem. You know, LED lights and frilly pillows and, you know what I'm saying, onesies from Skims. You know what I mean? All that stuff is Eastern, is Western comfort. And places like that aren't exposed to that and don't require that, you know. So it's our expectation is that, oh, their conditions should be better. If then people walk away with money to put food in and put the food that they need, not to go to Red Lobster because somebody screwed them good, not to get the crab legs because they want to indulge, not to run to the Chick-fil-A because they don't feel like cooking. If they have enough money to put the food that they need for their families, then they're happy. And they don't have these Western influences of TV, the Kardashians and things like that to be like, okay, I need this to qualify my happiness. No, they want to work, they want to get paid, and they want to provide for their families. Could they do more? We could all do more. We all work in a place that could probably use a new carpet, new management, better air, or no air at all. You know what I mean? A tangent. I'm always on one. I had 2 of these today. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. As you say, I don't see nobody say nothing about the skincare. And no, that's the same. It's all the same ingredients, same package. All the ingredients do the same things, unless you get into them expensive products that is putting placenta and stuff, or whatever. It's all the same ingredients that would get the same results. They're not doing nothing too new. The thing is, they're not using the good stuff, the real natural stuff that don't cost that much in these products. That episode of, I don't know, the Wild Thornberries, where Debbie didn't have, I didn't have some water too in a salad. I thought, okay, we even this out, thin it out. But Debbie didn't have none of her products. And Eliza was like, Debbie, everything in them products is out here in the jungle right now. And then she went out there and she made her skincare and her shampoo. Y'all know that? Remember the Wild Thornberries? But those are the things they don't tell us. That shit you need, you could grow. And I'm not getting into that. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? I loved the Wild Thornberries. And Debbie was pressed until she made her shit. Hey, Miss Kima. Yes, I hope you had a fabulous day too. A wonderful Wednesday. A happy hump day. I love it. Listen, over here at the Kelly Collective, we just love on each other. Come in and say hello. I love it over here. No. I don't know what these kids is watching these days. The cartoons that don't even look like real characters. I just don't even know what they're watching. Yes. So when you get a subscription, you could use these things. You get a Lux badge, and you could use these. Not an avatar, widget, something, whatever they call these things. No, these kids don't know nothing about Wild Thornberries. Kids don't know nothing about playing kickball. Getting in the house before the street lights come on. Because they stay in the house. Stickers. They don't care about it. They don't know nothing about nothing. A landline. My sister was telling me my niece, she was Ariel for Halloween, ain't never seen the damn Little Mermaid. I said, well, you have to show her, because it's not even about race, it's about classics. You have to show her the animated version before you get to showing her Hallie's, Chloe's, whatever ones. You have to show her that one before you get to showing her this one. Same thing with The Lion King. Don't you watch no live action if you ain't seen Simba fall from Pride Rock. Okay? And the first one. That's what I don't like about all these remakes. We forget the originals. And the originals always need continued love. You got to show her the original first. And I think she got Disney Plus. I don't know if it's on there. Little Mermaid is on Disney Plus. But the shit is, it's all available. It's not even new things. It's just repeated things. Even with them trying to do Death Becomes Her again. It's no reason to remake Death Becomes Her. It wasn't no reason to make a live action Lion King or what they're doing with The Little Mermaid. People out here are creative, okay? I'm sure they could make a new show, a movie for Hallie to do, right? But no. Sparkle. The first one was alright. Now Dreamgirls. That's different. One King, hey love. my auntie. Now, Dreamgirls is something different. We might not have needed a new. I've never seen the original Dream. Maybe I'll watch that tonight. I told you I've been watching classics just because I'm trying to get back into my youth. But that's something different. And maybe because I've never seen Dreamgirls, the original one with Cheryl Lee and Loretta Devine and Jennifer Holiday. But there's this. The new Dreamgirls is this probably. It's probably the best remake. Yeah, I could watch Dreamgirls every day. It's probably the best remake. What y'all think? What do y'all think is the best remake that they've done? Thank you, Auntie. What do y'all think is the best remake they've ever done? I want to say maybe Dreamgirls is the one for me. Yeah. Every man has his own special dream. And that might be because of Beyonce. Also, Jennifer, and Anika Noni Rose too, because Laurel loves Jimmy, okay? And when they put Loretta Devine in there, Jimmy Early, the little shits. The Temptations? Well, like the 5 Heartbeats? No, because that's two different things. They made a Temptation. There's 2 Temptation movies? Now school me now. I don't want to be ignorant. That's what the girl said. And that dream's just about to come true. Life's not as bad as it may seem when you open your eyes to look in front of you. Your dream, girl. That right there. Oh, it will make you happy. Now Jimmy got so. That was when Laurel loved Jimmy, and everybody had the, when I first saw you. You know what I mean? It's just. Oh, okay. What's the best remake that they've done? They remade a lot of things. But like Dreamgirls is definitely one of them. What they're doing with these Disney shows. What else do we got, y'all? Sparkle. What else is there? Is there? I know it's more than that. I know it's more than that. Jimmy got SOUL, soul. Okay. Yeah, I think Dreamgirls might take the cake. Oh, Cinderella. That Brandy Cinderella really holds a special part for the culture. I think as a whole. I do still feel like you got to watch the original Cinderella. But there's been so many Cinderellas. But that Brandy Cinderella was an integral part of the culture. Just to see the diversity of the cast and how a black woman and a white man made an Asian son. But yeah, I agree. Brandy is the OG. We was taught to Brandy. Everybody worked with Brandy ended up dying as you bring up Cinderella. Natalie Desselle was in there. The Wizard of Oz, 100, and that's the thing. That was for the culture too. That's what it seems like. They kind of do that for the culture because obviously the Black Little Mermaid. I feel like the Lion King is a black story, especially with the black people. Even with Jason Weaver singing The Wizard of Oz, they turn that more black. Well, we don't, we just need our own things. Like The Princess and the Frog. Granted, I don't think we all need to be animal-centered, but we could do our own things. Listen, as I watch these old shows back, there's always an underlying racism, and also too, a lot of sexual, everything's sexual, but a lot of, suggestive things. I was watching The Toy with Richard Pryor, and I had loved The Toy, and that's why I'm bougie now, because I like the shows like The Toy and Richie Rich and things like that. But it was very suggestive in their behavior and their actions and things like that. And it's like, this is why everybody grew up freaking off, because the movies was always talking about freaking off. It was always alluded to. So weird. So yeah, and then definitely with race, minor things or little things that you think, microaggressions against racism, or micro statements in racism, and stuff like that. We're in a lot of these movies. That's another topic. But like I told you guys too, it's all intentional. It creates where we're at right now, because the kids watch these crazy things, and then the kids want to be on lean and all this shit, whatever they do, watching in the show, or talking in acronyms and shit like that. It's all just whatever that is. Watching it get back to my youth, because I saw a TikTok that said, look up the top 10 songs of when you were born, listen to them, and see what type of emotional, psychological place it puts you in. I said, it's a great idea. So I've been doing that with movies, because I like the movies. And I can do that with music too, but I said, let me just do the movies first. Either way. But, watching it, and it's nice to travel back. But I'm looking into things and seeing things and paying attention to things. I was like, well, shit. Like I said, this is why I'm bougie, because I like the Richie Riches and the things like that. Imitation of Life. I think we discussed that. I was on here late one night, and we were talking about favorite movies, and the ladies had brought up Imitation of Life. I don't think I've seen that, though. But I do think I've seen it as I'm scrolling through and looking for movies. I think I saw that. I started looking at movies from like the 70s. I watched Blank Check. I just watched Hercules. With the, what they call the divas. I just watched Hercules and realized Scar's skin is in Hercules. And I don't know how they did that. That's a separate story. For color girls, for color girls was just dark. Good, but dark. Because, mixed emotion, because it's good, but it's dark. Because when Michael Ealy dropped them kids, I didn't need to see that. Love Karina. The Women of Brewster's Place. I've seen that and scrolling through the movies too. I think I might have saw that one time with a friend of mine. When Michael Ealy dropped the kids out that window, I said, okay, so now there was no need for me. There was no need for him to do that. And there was no need for me to see that. Macy Gray, it was just a lot of things going on in that film. And that's just the hope for Color Girls narrative, the poem, of course, but to be played out. Some things just don't need to be remade. Just like Precious Amazing Groove. Never watch it again. Never read the book again. But I don't think I've watched Precious twice. Get that, kids. I was trying to explain what the big thing. Listen, like you just didn't. And I can y'all visualize it too? At the brownstone with Kimberly Elise screaming, and his light-skinned ass just dropped them kids. And then the thing is, you don't expect the light-skinned guy to do that. But he did. Like they just said to her, I told him he was musty. Yeah, I saw that in a thing too. Let me get into light skins. That's another video. That abortion part with Macy Gray. It was just like I don't need to watch that again. Definitely, Precious don't need to watch that again. You know what else? Another movie I don't need to watch again. Fruitvale Station. I don't need to watch that again. And if I don't need to watch it again, because it ain't like we've developed leaps and bounds from situations like that in Fruitvale Station. So I don't even understand why they would even make something like that. But that goes back into how I tell you they was trying to get somebody in an emotional state, and it just so happened to be people of color. Because I don't know what white people watch that is so traumatic in these types of situations for color girls. Eve's Bayou, Fruitvale Station. I just don't know what they and I'm not excluding whatever troubles they go through because everybody goes through something. But on a movie basis, they usually be all right. and that's all. I say that with love, but I just why do they even make movies like that? Fruitvale Station was, I can picture that too. Only seen it once. Devastating. Emotionally stripping. Okay. Natasha, for color girl didn't bother me. Neither did Precious. Girl, I couldn't. For color, it's just when I watch a movie, because I like movies. Oh, the Nat Turner movie. I don't think I ever watched that. But I can imagine, just like this Emmett Till movie with Whoopi Goldberg, I don't need to watch that, especially after having. Now they didn't play anything out, but in Lovecraft. Now I love Lovecraft Country. I'm so passionate about Lovecraft Country, as if somewhere in my spirit that I'm just connected on a spiritual level like that, because I'm very passionate about Lovecraft Country. And how they touched on that with Emmett Till, or even overall the story, the way Ebony did. I don't need to see a movie like that because it's just like Fruitvale Station. Worse, because there was a whole ordeal. Fruitvale Station, he just simply got shot. I use that. I don't use that term lightly. But I don't need that. I don't need no portrayal of that. I don't need that in my Like I said, I remember that. Fruitvale Station, only seen it once. I remember, I picture it. Precious, that whole experience, Monique looking like that and Mariah Carey looking like that. I remember that. You know what I mean? For color girls, dropping them kids out there. When I think of For Color Girls, immediately after saying the name, it's the kids falling out the thing. I remember that. Why the hell I need to see the Emmett Till story? Too enlightening. That's what I said. A lot of black people were sitting there researching more into the ancestry of me. I was like, okay, which one of my parents, which one of my grandmothers would have been running out of there with the book? That sort of thing. Too enlightening. And that's where we're at. So we can't be enlightened. We have to be emotionally stifled, emotionally paralyzed, to keep us, like I said, to think about that. Now, why do I want to go watch the Emmett Till movie? First of all, I know Emmett Till. I know the story. I already know what it's given. Suppressed, okay? And what was the show on Amazon with the cats in the bag? I don't know. I already know what the Emmett Till story is. I know what it's given. I know what they did. I know what Essence and Ebony magazine showed me. You know what I mean? Because that was one of the first things. The first things of that time, showing images at the funeral, open casket, them. I like them. I like that. I like them because the black people are not victims. The things happen to them, but they do not play victim, especially that the wife. Because when she slapped old girl, I said, okay, I can get where they're going here. I'm just waiting for them to bring it back. But that's back in the same thing with Lovecraft Country. And if we're going to enlighten and encourage an authentic black experience, we have to shut that down. And if Karen feel like she can't go and voice her opinion to Janessa across the street, that's problematic. That's problematic. But most times, black people are just reactive and not the protagonists, or not antagonists. And that's not the narrative that they want to put out. That it's okay if you respond in this way because obviously she's a disrespectful, racist. Charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. Not even. That's too nice. CUNT. that sort of thing. And I wish there was just more of that instead of them, creating these new shows or recreating these shows that play us in the 50s, 40s, or some type of traumatic experience of getting gunned down or getting dragged through the streets, like why? And in real power, real life situations, not some made up Wakanda fairy tale of a superhero Marvel mashup for the white man's bottom line. But then we don't even get the black people, the Tyler Perry's, the Ava DuVernays, Spike Lee. We don't get the black producers and the creators that are in the positions, in the rooms, at the tables to create this type of uplifting, powerful, insightful, reassuring, motivating. I don't think I've seen anything like that since Girlfriends. But even still with Girlfriends, as you watch Girlfriends back, the nuance of relationship between black women, did they want each other to succeed? Were they really good girlfriends? Besides them being successful, there was the nuances about that really played on the negative aspects of our relationships with black women. You have to watch that back to see that. But even still, you ain't seen now, Living Single. That's why Living Single was so groundbreaking. Because it just did everything. I watched Living Single back and back, and that plays better. Although Girlfriends is good, Living Single plays better to the black experience. But they don't want to do that. Why they don't want to give us nothing like that? Past traumas and not even a touch of a resolution. I would love to. I'm not ever gonna watch it. Somebody's gonna have to tell me what the hell happens at the end of the Till movie. Tell me. Even Selma, March on Selma. Here we are in 2024. If it's not black people, if it's not white people killing black people, it's black people gunning somebody down in front of the damn bowling alley. Where have we gone? What have we done? But fighting forever. When is we gonna get some resolve? Like when can we not fight? Fighting injustice on a national level in our neighborhoods. That's the thing about them. Fighting in our neighborhoods, just trying to exist. And that's what one of my perception in not the ultimate cause, but when it came to race, not racism, slavery. Let's go and take over these people who are self-sufficient, independent, you know what I mean, motivated, focused on them, their community, doing the things that do it, and then that sort of, people, white man is just like, oh, well, I need some of that gold, I need some of that oil, I need to be a part of some of that power, come and invade a self-functioning organization of black people, and creates this whole thing. I've never been to an African American museum. No, I haven't. But they even show us real things? And that's what I said. That's what I said too. We have, as black people, as a culture. Like this is the analogy I use. I said you got an older sibling and you got a younger sibling. Each of them, all siblings, okay? Older sibling, younger sibling, they know what to do to irk you. They know what to do to get a reaction out of you. So if they antagonize you, push your buttons, provoke you to be upset, and then you're upset, they laugh because you met their expectation. What we have to do as we continue to be antagonized and provoked, we have to react in a different way to get a different experience, to have an overall different experience, or even begin the idea of changing the narrative, which is leaps and bounds easier said than done, because that would change the whole paradigm of the world itself. But if we weren't so reactive, I don't care if it's Whoopi Goldberg, I don't care if it's Tyler Perry, I don't care if it's Coco Jones in these movies to get people to go out and understand and to go out and engage in this experience. We don't need to prescribe to that instilling. It's like, oh Lord, like, oh, and then you get out and you're mad and you want to argue with a white person and things like, and then that's just not it, because all lives matter. So we can't sit here and do that. We have to be equal and opposite. How about that? What y'all saying? Melinda, yes, I do want credit for not having any white feelings about leaving Mississippi. Who's you guys? Look how they're trying. Yeah, well, Black Wall Street. Yeah, I mean I feel like that's just a narrative to. National. I got to get to DC, and that's yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's when it comes to Africa, there's things obviously on an emotional level to cry about, but I feel like there will be things to be empowered by as well. But I think too is that we have to get out of the expectation of familiarity and what our idea of our ancestors, follow me here, success looked like. You understand what I'm saying? When you look at slavery, we were sold by black kings and queens of that area, by black royals. That is something people don't understand. That is something people don't know. There were barters, treaties, conversations, decisions, actions made with black people to sell black people. Because our true essence of even being has been so distorted by media, propaganda, and the white man's vision or intention, we compare it to, oh, this is what I need to be happy because this is what I've seen all these years. I said something like that on Facebook, and my friend messaged me and was like, I said on Facebook, like, I would like to go, I was talking about Kanye West. I was talking about Kanye West, and I said, if I was a time traveler, I would like to go back to at least 10 years before slavery kicked off. I want to see the vibe, the feel, the situation, how it all began, who started what, you know, that sort of thing, and then the motions. Because first off, I would like first-hand knowledge. I don't want to be told by some other textbook. I don't want to be told by a textbook written by a white man. I don't want to be told anything by a textbook written by an Asian man. I want the first-hand experience of the actual transactions, or even how it was a build-up to that. So that's what I said on that. And she responded. She messaged me and she said, "I don't know when Bridgerton was." But blacks were royals. Hair, clothing, prestige, reverence, that sort of thing. But they acted like what you would see white people act like. Haughty-taughty, dismissive, curt, you know what I mean? That sort of thing. Which would be shocking if you think, oh, you're going to be so elegant and graceful. And that's what I'm saying about get out of the idea of what we think the successes of our ancestors look like. Which goes back into, oh, Lord. Racism being a choice. Not racism, I didn't mean to say that. Slavery being a choice. The impact of slavery lasting so long was a decision that people consciously made to not break out of the norm. So, well, your ancestors. Maybe your ancestors were more scared than empowered, and it took not a there wasn't an uprising, of a group of people to make the change. It was a judicial decision that really kicked things into motion. But that's the story, that's the narrative of the white person. But when he says, Mr. Ye, when he says it's a choice, 400 damn years, yeah. And some people have a hard time even considering that option, because why would anybody choose? But taking consideration, like I said, white people, black people were royals. Black people thought it was safe, familiar, stick with the devil, Also, too, everybody didn't grow up. I mean, all slave situations were not terrible situations. Also, too, I had the idea of you can bring a ship, 400 people on a damn showcase. You shackle. I don't know how you shackle 400 people, but they did. They did what they did. Okay, it's what we saw in the books for years and years. But there's no ships. Either way, 400 people. They don't got nearly as many people. Let's say the Europeans monitoring the people. You probably got, if 100, maybe 50. We couldn't overturn the boat. Granted, they did say some boats were overturned. But when you transport this amount of people against their will, they didn't come from fear. They came from empowerment. So that's what I'm saying. Take me back to 10 years before any of that happened, because some things don't add up in the story. To think it over here, colonized or not, there's still groups of people, indigenous people, that are over here in America. At 4 o'clock in the morning, when the master and his wife is asleep, didn't nobody choose to uprise? And because even still, it's 4,000 enslaved people on the plantation and 20 people in the house. There's a story here of power and true decision making and survival instincts that is more powerful than we be killed and sold, we be killed. You know what I mean? When the numbers alone outweighed. Because you're telling me we're in the minority. So when you brought the boat of 400 people, 400 enslaved people over from Africa, it was 400 other Europeans, 700, 1,000 Europeans. I don't think that was the case. I don't know. But I don't think that was the case. So the narrative. Well, I'm sorry, I done went off on a tangent. We're sitting here, very empowering. A museum. It's definitely an emotional. Exactly, that's why I said they're made to provoking. Watch it in colors, you can find it. Thank you, Brian, for the things. Fearful and overwhelmed. 100%. Because it's all new. Whether it was the guise of, okay, come over here and be so, create this new world for us. Because I just don't know how you, like I said, they didn't come in, if they were sold, that's the thing too, getting sold in a way so you didn't have a choice. But like I said, there were boats that the story, also other stories, the boats had been tanked. I know I didn't mean to. Tanked because they fought against it. Like the plane that went down in Maryland the same time. Maryland and Virginia. It's the same place. Somewhere around there when the 9/11 thing happened, because those people fought, And they were, you know what I'm saying, fought the people that were trying to take over the plane. The plane went down early. The plane didn't make it to its intended destination. That sort of thing. How many boats were like that? What was going on the other boats to keep the people calm? You taking people against their will. Like I said, you didn't take them you didn't bring them from oppression, or did they? Bring them from oppression so they were familiar with the circumstances, so then maybe they thought they were getting something better. What's the real story? We'll never know, because to sit and empower, because you either empower the African American culture to be rooted in royalty, and when you're royal, it don't matter how you act because you got the power of royalty, or to be bound in family and supportive of family, because that's what I'll threaten your mother, I'll threaten your niece, I'll threaten these people to make you do these things. So we really move together, and now we don't move together in any aspect. So you can't encourage that narrative, because then that doesn't bring the discord that we need. or taking, bringing them over to the new land, and even the power alone of being the only reason, the very reason that these white families, European, whatever you want to call them, other people's families, to even have the money that they have stored away in a bank somewhere, we would be the sole reason for that. That's empowering. That's empowering. But no, let's keep showing the bad things. But I think there's another story to tell, and it's not Harriet's, and it's not Rosa's, it's not Emmett's, and it's not some poem from, because I could just imagine, I'm sure there's a real poem out here that really speaks to it, the real situations, or even brings alternate perception than what is pushed on a mainstream level that they never address. Probably one of the books that were burned when they were burning all the books. I'm sure they were probably based in, African American things. Because why burn the book of the agenda? The Bible made it through. So your name was different perception of slavery. You don't want it. I always want to just sit and have a serious conversation. Listen, no, yeah, some jumped. That's what we need to tell. Let's tell that story. Let's talk about the ship with 400 black people on it that overturned it, that were ready to give their lives for the sake of not doing. Because why would you even overturn it? What What were the conditions? What's the story behind even wanting to overthrow the boat, jump off the boat? Now, let's get into that, because there's a power in there. Just listen. I love crap country. The power is in you. Your ancestors don't die because they're not there. You're responsible. You are a product of the ancestors. So whatever they were, you are too. I don't know. I do know. Now, what I have to say, that's what I got to say about that. Slavery is a thing, and you can discuss it. Look to that, to whatever your ancestors are, you are too. I don't think when we discuss slavery, it needs to be such a. I don't know. Listen, my intention is not to be ignorant or to downplay it. I would like to sit and talk to somebody, a couple somebodies, because I don't want one person's perspective, because one person's perspective is their experience in that situation. If I did get a PBS show, I would like to have at least 5 people over the age of 70, and maybe a good what do they call them, centurion, that would have different experiences, like they did in the Help. It's like, I had experienced this, and when they got the mates together, because that creates a better story. Because there's not one. Everybody didn't have the same experience. Some situations may have mirrored at a moment, but everybody had a different experience. Everybody has a different story to tell, and that's what I would love to do that. Because I can't sit. I don't want to sit and talk to somebody who always felt so defeated, and I don't want to talk to somebody who felt like they rose above everything. You know what I'm saying? Get do this and that and this and that. Like I said with the guy who wants me to interview him, you just feel like he rose above, which is fine. Thank you for that. But there was another story here that is better told. That could be better told. That could be more influential and empowering to somebody who may be in that same situation. So, like 5 older people, like I said, over 70. obviously in their right minds, God willing, and got something and have something to say. Um, Dark, because a lot of times too, these people who got something to say or whatever, they light skinned, and that's no shade because I'm light skinned, but something in me, and that's just maybe that's the media too. But the experience being told by somebody who's 50 shades lighter, I'm just kind of missing the mark. And it's usually the people like the Angela Ray or the Amanda Seals. And it's like, okay, you want to come out and champion for these black causes, but, and I'm not saying these girls not black. That's not what I'm saying at all. But they got to be something, as opposed to Viola Davis, who's coming out and telling these stories like, oh, the director called me his maid's name. Like, you can't be out here thumping for black rights like these light-skinned girls is. The media. I don't know. I'm just saying. I do know, and I just said. I do know, and I just said. Or when if a black man, Kanye West, black men do it, he becomes crazy. Need to be hospitalized and stripped of all his funds. When he simply talks about the powers that be, which is just a long-standing thing. When you think of 400 years ago, I mean, 40 years ago is 40 years ago. I'm not saying anybody's old, but that's a lot of shit. It was 2020. You know what I mean? 20 years ago, it was a different time, and it's all in the same thing. 40 years ago was a different time. 400 years ago, none of us have any concept of what that even was. 400 years ago, more now, but 400 years ago, 1,000 years ago, evolution too. Now I don't know if I'm getting off on a tangent, but things fucking change, or we don't even have a true explanation of what it actually was at that time. We only know what was told to us. And that's one of the things. It's like, okay, you know what you've heard, you can understand what you've read and things like that. But considering the environment that you're in, or maybe the people that you talk to, you have to be open to another perception. Because no one thing, even you could talk to your siblings. You all may tell a different story. You may have had the same experiences, but you will all tell a different story of how you were raised. You're not going to tell me it's the one thing that came from this, and this is just the one way that it happened, and this is just what it is. And then the thing too, it all be in sadness. Because, like I said, you're not telling me 4,000 slaves on a damn plantation. One wasn't comfortable enough to stay there, procreate, do the things, all the things, whatever. Do their spirituality, and create even a religion outside of organized religion. Or two, that they didn't rally and come together and overthrow these four masters in a house. Because you raising these men up to be big and I don't know. Well, they say big, strong, and dumb, but what is dumb? Because I don't think you need to be able to read to be a threat. I don't think you need to be able to put a good sentence together to be a threat. Usually, we're now focusing in more of a mental thing. That's more of a mental issue, which maybe qualifies somebody as that. You know what I mean? But if this man don't know how to read, but he's big and strong, and he's the one pulling the things and doing the things, what does it take for him? And that's the thing about women, which have always been the minds of the matters, always, to organize and orchestrate and say this, whether they were happy in the situation, like I said, better safe than sorry, stick with the devil you know, and stuff, whatever, things like that. But to be like, you Big Ben, you Big Willie, and you Big Tommy, at 4, when the sun go down and the crows and the crickets start to go in, you're not going to tell me none of them stories happen? You're not going to tell me that them stories didn't happen in a way that we can't pick on the stories of this is more on the Eastern Shore, this is more on the Southern thing, this is more on that these stories didn't happen around here, that we can't put these movies out. Because if you're gonna tell me, oh boy, gonna get shot in the damn movie theater, in the damn train station, and kids gonna be dropped out of a windowsill, you can't tell me that we didn't come out and uprise against the injustice that is American history. Because it's not black people's history, it's American history. Like I said, these white people is rich because of us, black people, African Americans. That there's not a story to be told here, retold, revamped, recast. I'm not a believer of that. You also not gonna tell me it took Harriet Tubman. I know I'm gonna get suspended, right? Harriet Tubman to change it, like I said, back to a woman, also too. But that's a contradiction there too. The black women's was the reason for change. Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, Madam C.J. Walker, Shirley Chisholm. Reason for change. Meanwhile, don't hire a black woman, don't pay her, don't do like that. Let's make it make sense. Well, like I was saying, you're not gonna tell me Harriet Tubman was the one that finally was just like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go because Harriet didn't win. Harriet learned from somebody, who learned from somebody, who learned from somebody. Who are those people? What are those stories? So when these black people sitting in these rooms trying to come up with entertainment, I would prefer they tap into something more original in that aspect than double into traumatic experiences or the typical African American experience, We were slaves and housekeepers. Because I think that was one of the things too. Let me tell you, it all started reading, going to church, the Bible. The Bible don't talk about dinosaurs. Obviously, you go to a museum and it's dinosaurs. I've been questioning shit since then. So this was early on. Then as you look at things, okay, the slaves were bad, oppressed, beaten, and whatever. You don't want us to drink, and see, those types of things was different. But it's happening, but the timing of which don't make sense. Because when you brought us over here, cooking your foods, breastfeeding your kid, cooking your food, breastfeeding your kids, caring for your children, and then years later, it's like you can't drink at our fountains. Like that don't make sense. That don't make sense. And I'm on one of my tangents. I don't know exactly how we got here. Terrible movies of black representation, but it's always been terrible black representation. It's always been. Or even when you talk about people, the changers, the game changers, Malcolm X, he was a fraud and this and that, and he just couldn't be the man that enlightened the people and encouraged people to be better. But that's the thing. Pawns, because it's all part of everything. Like I said, cards fall and an image flourishes, and that's kind of what happens. And you need people like that to continue the narrative, because nothing changes. Martin Luther King, this wasn't his name. He was an adulterer. These are the stories. But he planted seeds in people's heads, but nothing changed. Rosa Parks didn't get off her seat. She wasn't the first one to do that. Okay, people could get on the bus and sit wherever they want, but still there's really no change. Like, those types of stories that are told obviously don't produce the results for anything to be different. So I think there might be another story there that could really get some resolve. Because I think if, besides getting soul food, cooking pig's feet, chicken gizzards, and chitterlings is what I was going to say, there was some other power that we possessed during our time being under the ruling of white people, Europeans, whatever. I don't want to be, because I would like white people to be in here. I like when I get the white people in here. Whatever. I don't want to deter anybody away in my reference of them. But there was more that we got out of that than some soul food. Okay? And those are the stories. And there was more, like I said, everybody didn't have a beating experience, lashing with families killed. You know, that wasn't everybody's story. It couldn't have been, because you only have these people, and sure, they did multiple trips, but that's increasing the number of black people in this area, but now we're the minority. That don't make sense. That don't make sense. But if that's what they tell the people, if that's what they put in the book, and nobody's sitting here counting, that's what you have to do. That's what you choose to believe. That's what you have to go on. Did I welcome Rayshana Flowers? Welcome. But that can't possibly be the only story. So that when they keep reliving, or even, like I said, I like them, but to go back then, like, we don't need that. There are people there, like Tina Turner didn't watch What's Love Got to Do with It. It's somebody from the 40s and 50s that completely does not even entertain those types of movies, because why would I want to relive that type of experience? Or it's like, okay, it's not entirely true. You know, that's not my experience. You know what I mean? So that's propaganda. I don't know. Hey, my life is amazing. 77. You know, it's things, it's those types of things, and that's just where my mind be. Entertainment and all of that stuff, you know, all plays into that. It's all, except the dominoes continue to fall, the cards continue to fall, and then a new picture flourishes, things change, and then another picture flourishes, and you come over here to just be like, you get another perspective, you get the Kelly perspective, and that's that. Like I said, too, even watching the old movies, it's just like, you know, those things probably wouldn't go over so well these days. The people are more aware, and then too, with, like, you know, white people wanting to be allies, and, you know, making a bigger deal about things, or even, you know, make a big deal about it, and then things get out of hand. Because then when white people ally for black people, they come into their, you know, have their own issues within their own community, and now it kind of takes the focus off of what the resolve is. Ultimately, we're trying to get from racial injustice or police brutality, you know, that sort of thing. It becomes a them issue and not a us issue. Because then we, you know, like, get to apologize and like, oh, I'm so sorry you had to deal with that, you know, or whatever. Thank you so much for being a part of. When honestly, I mean, like, the same thing with slavery. Like I said, with slavery, we can make some things happen now. We can fuel the economy. We can create your meals. We can care for your kids for a long period of time. Not overnight, not a couple months, not a year or two. When did slavery start? 18. Slavery operated in the first civilizations such as Sumer in Mesopotamia, which dates back as far as 3500 BCE. Well, and I don't even know if they're talking about who started slavery in Africa, because that's the thing too. Black was a term not for people of Because we're not black. Even some people are dark brown. And some people are dark brown. But black was just a term used in Russia to describe lower class people, which then turns into this. Because I'm not black and I'm not African American. I had never been to Africa. I don't know where my ancestors, my great grandfathers was a West Indian. My great grandfather was West Indian. Multiple things. Everybody's, at this point, everybody's everything, you know. Sons of Abraham, if you will. But children of Abraham. But, like, I mean, that becomes the blanket. So that, and as I looked this up, you know, slavery was the first thing in Mesopotamia, which is Mesopotamia. I want to say that's like Egypt, over in that area. I could be wrong. That's a separate thing. And then they say slavery in northern Africa dates back to ancient Egypt. The New Kingdom, 1558 to 1080 BC, brought in large numbers of slaves as prisoners of war up the Nile Valley and used them for domestic and superior labor. Ptolemaic Egypt, 305 BC to 30. So it was a thing. I mean, obviously it was a thing. Even when you think of like the Prince of Egypt and stuff like that, which is a biblical story. I'm thinking of the movie. But they, you know, people were enslaved. And it was people of their own culture, their own, cultural background that were enslaving those same people. As I educate myself. Along with the first representative legislative assembly in the New World, 1619 also marked the arrival of the first recorded Africans to English North America. The recruitment of English women in significant numbers, the first official English Thanksgiving in Northern America, and the entrepreneurial and innovative, abilities of, whatever that is, whatever they're getting at that. So 1619, and I never watched, when my friend brought up Bridgerton, I never watched Bridgerton, but I'm assuming it's around that same time, 1619, 1640, the 1400s, 1500s, the 14th to 15th century, I'm sure is around that time. Even with the, like I said, the Prince of Egypt and them enslaving their own people goes back into, like, Africans were selling Africans. Africans were already enslaved in Africa. It's just a different narrative. And it would be more educational to black people to hear and see and be able to process and research on them on their own, instead of this happened, you guys were on boats. Apparently everybody was shipped into places that they didn't want to be in. Again, that's, Black Lives Matter. Lots of people at that time, probably even before it happened with Africa, I mean, even before it happens with your modern day African American, those Africans, Egyptians, or, things like that, those types of people were already being enslaved. I'm not getting into that right now. I've said what I said. But even that little bit, that makes me think, mind tick, 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 turns. And now I try to look for an answer that you probably won't get. Or even, I think I don't know how listen, we're over here on my platform and I talk to my people. But the victims. So we were not the only victims. Okay? And I'm thinking of like the damn pyramids. I don't know if you took a slave in Northern America, and then you took a slave from Mesopotamia. You ask them would they rather. I'm sure a Mesopotamian slave would rather be in North America. I don't want to be offensive, but I also am going to share my thoughts. But you play a game of would you rather, and I think you might get some shocking responses. Or what African queen sold slaves? What was her name? There it is. Her name was Anna. Anna. She ruled during a period of rapid growth in the African slave trade and encroachment of the Portuguese Empire into Southwest Africa in an attempt to control the slave trade. It's just there's history. There's just more to the story, and I think instead of because in some way with production and film, they do kind of tell these stories, but they would tell this story and kind of make Anna the antagonist, the protagonist, and not the antagonist. You know what I mean? Conversely, like when they do, somebody said in Batman, Dr. Freeze was trying to prevent global warming, but Batman, who's the hero, is about as I watched that movie the other day with Poison Ivy, and I just knew there was the feminine edge because Poison Ivy just did everything. She did things for me, just like Cruella de Vil in the video I put up. But Poison Ivy, that's that one, and that's what happened. It literally was trying to, bringing heat through the satellites to, like that sort of thing. And I mean, there's a certain way to look at it. You have to be open to that idea. Not open to the idea, but, because everybody's entitled to think for themselves. But to be like, that kind of makes sense too. A lot of, I'm sure there's better references where people are played up to be, not Prince of Egypt, but what is that? The Egyptian, it was Ra, not Clash of the Titans, but even still, they had that movie, the Egyptian movie, where everybody's white, and they go to get the eye for the god, and they go on that long travel, and then the other god is up in the ether fighting off a. Oh, good night, Auntie. Thank you for hanging out. I love you much. They were hanging out. He was hanging out in the clouds, or whatever the case may be. Whatever that movie is, they play Ra as the protagonist, but he in history is the antagonist. Now I might be getting the names wrong, and I don't want to be discredited for that. But that's the point of, in these movies, the person that is really at fault becomes the hero of the story, and then subsequently the story is not told accurately because we're not blaming the correct people. So like I said, this Anna story, the African queen who sold slaves, they dressed the story up, they dressed the movie up to act like, she was just taken against it, didn't have a choice, and all these things. Meanwhile, in the books and in experience, she was the one signing treaties and making deals. What say you? What do y'all think? But how do y'all feel about that? Not just what I'm saying. Not maybe we talk about slavery. If we got on slavery because we're talking about black experiences in the movies. Child, we went from recreated movies to black trauma movies to slavery. Welcome to the Kelly Collective. We talk about all things. It's always a tangent and something to be had. Just call me Kelly. Down at the coal mine where the gems be dropping. I just be saying and I just be thinking. Like I said, I told you where it started with the dinosaurs. And also too with dinosaurs being birds being more closely associated. Like, yeah, I'm not getting into all that. Is there something lighter we could discuss? Should I just head out of here? I said I was gonna go 2 hours ago. I said I was gonna head on out 2 hours ago. But I just be thinking, and I love you guys for hanging out and even sticking around long enough to even hear what I had to say. Most people, as you've seen, come in and come out, and I don't know why. Most people, they could be whatever. Like I said, on TikTok, you could be doing anything, and you're here with me, and I appreciate that. But I also have to speak my experience or my perception of the truth, and I think that's why you guys come here for that. So I stand in that and provide you with what I be, how my mind works. Even like yesterday, talk about Kamala Harris, and with the videos I have, like famous celebrities, relatives and stuff like that. I'm like, well, who was Kamala's famous celebrity? And then you get, two people pop up, and now that's a rabbit hole I got to go down and trying to see where things make sense and whatever is what. My mind is always working. So there's always a tangent to be had because something's going to be said that makes you think about something else. And I got to explore that. Thank you so much, Miss King. Thank you. So I said, I didn't think, I don't know what I thought exactly when I got on TikTok. I just knew, this was long ago, back when I'm a Savage, Classy, Bougie, Ratchet. That is when, because my goddaughter was trying to teach me that dance. And after 4 hours of her teaching me that dance, and I just could not even get it really for the video. I said, this is not what I'm be on TikTok for, but there was something about it, like the For You page and everything just seemed like there was an ability to reach. And I knew it wasn't going to be in dancing, because I'm not a dancer. I'm a dance, but I'm not a dancer, And just like I'm a singer, but I'm not a singer. Cook, not a chef. But I said, when I get on TikTok, I'm going to do something. And it took a while to figure out what that would be. I've always been this way. Thinking, tangenting, advising, theorizing, speculating, But it wasn't until, you got to get to watching that For You page and the people are like, they're like, well, let me show you how to clean your sink. And I'm just like, well, let me show you how to make spaghetti or whatever, that sort of thing. We just had spaghetti yesterday. And I was just like, let me just get on here and say the things I know, but not cleaning sinks. But let me just do what's, specific to me. And here I am before you guys growing and doing and having you guys engage in what I have to say. And that means a lot. It really does mean a lot. Random but related. Yes. Thank you so much. And I definitely have found my niche in just doing. Because I didn't think I would. I thought I would get on here. Like, I'll just do the makeup thing because that's what I was watching on like YouTube and stuff. But that's not. That's what I do. We do that here. But that is not. I mean, people come to the channel and appreciate a lot of the things that I do. but that wasn't what was pushed. And in me putting out my content, which is from tea to theorizing to makeup to cooking to, you know, these types of things, TikTok pushes out what is that, what it is. People respond to it. And then I've just kind of, you know, just developed on those types of things. But over here on the live, I mean, we cover, I mean, like today, we started from a Stitch video talking about should my woman be like my mother to the motherland, you know? And I appreciate that ability to do that on here. And have you guys engage with that, like I said before. So, in my hoodie, in my AI glasses, to sit and connect with the people is really, and it's honestly all I've been, is really, it's the calling that I've always had, just to connect, relate in some aspect, vocalize thoughts, opinions, whatever, speak to people where they are in a way that they can accept, understand, you know, or be open to, you know, that sort of thing. And that's in a lot of things. Like maybe yesterday, the girl was like, you could be a vendor for hair products or something like that. Not so much sell hair, but when I was in hair school, when the vendors would come in, you know, whether they're selling bleach or hair color or shampoos, I was like, you know, I could get up in front of people and tell them about a product and stuff like that. So here is really a place where I can let all of that flourish and expand, and I couldn't do that without you guys. So I'm thankful for that. And just trying to get it to grow and expand and be quite the gig. So, you know, I don't have to punch nobody's clock. I'll be punching my own clock. Because if I could put in the work for somebody else, I could put in the work for me. Okay? And the same thing for you. If you have something in you, because your goal and your gift always presents itself to you. There's apprehension and confusion in where to go or how to even start it. But the goal and the gift is always present and active. It will always reveal itself to you. It will always come back up. It will always be in your brain. It will always be in what you see. And you just have to take the chance on it and do it. Be in it, express it, and everything else kind of falls around. Everything falls in place. Everything falls in place. Be intentional. You definitely have to be intentional. You don't have to know exactly, and it's hard. You can't, like I said, I want to get on here and do makeup. Be like, okay, I'll be this makeup. But no, I mean, we get on here and we hang out, and the people do like the makeup, but that's not. If I just did makeup, people would be like, okay, where's the vintage tea? You jump ship, you know, so that sort of thing. But that was my idea of what I thought success looked like on TikTok, doing something that I watched people do for years and years. Why not do what I do, which is everything? Because why do one thing when you can do everything? You got to do it. You got to get up and you got to do it. No, you don't have to have a goal. You don't have to plan it out. You don't have to plan or be exactly how you thought about it. But as long as you get in it, that's in everything. And no, everybody, and then people, like I've always said before too, people are garbage men and people are CEOs. People are happy sitting at a table and a desk in a conference room, and some people are out in the streets doing the things, and it's, you know, it's different people, it's different shows for different folks. People come to TikTok to absorb the information, and people have the ability to get on here and provide whatever they provide. And that's what makes the world go round, and that's what keeps things shucking and jiving. Um, so know your outlet or your power, your business, your intention, your goal, your purpose is not to be out on TikTok, you know what I mean, looking and laughing or doing the things. But you could apply the same concept to your job, your business, your family, you know, and let that flourish. The way to live your life, especially these days, it's just it's endless, and there's no ceiling on the success you can have, or the expression of your life, your experiences. There's a status quo, and there's a formula, and there's a societal structure. But like I said too, you know, some of the most successful people haven't been to college, you know. Some of the most successful people didn't come from the same experiences that you have, or have come from the same experience, didn't take the same routes that you did, you know what I mean? Or, you know, they just made it, you made it your own. Step out on faith, and that's what I said, what Kanye said about selfishness, and I don't bring in yesterday's conversation. But if you focus on yourself, same thing what I was saying about relationships too, you focus on yourself. If you focus on yourself, you attract what you need. You're concerned about pleasing everybody else, you be around people that need to be pleased. But if you focus on yourself, the things that you need, the things that are required to make you, push you to be a better you, will all bring themselves to you. Because that's the way the universe works. And that's why I love Craft Country. And I'll not try, but things always come back around. And that's how you know it's on. I'll be on to something. But that's like Lovecraft Country. The spiritual connection, the vibe, the universe, your ancestors, that sort of thing is a real thing. And if you allow that to just be, if you allow yourself to be a part of that, open yourself up to that, there's no way. There's no limitations. I had the conversation with my mother, and with me doing, I always wanted to do everything, right? I was just saying earlier yesterday, it's like, yeah, I would be a travel agent. I wouldn't mind that added to my repertoire, or even having that a part of my MGG company. But talking to her, who was always a nurse, and she still wants to be a nurse, but she's picking up this side hustle and wants to flip her nursing career into something else. You know what I mean? So later, not so much later in life, but whatever she's witnessed, experienced, it's like, okay, well, I don't have to do this one thing. I could do this and this. I could take this into this. You got to live the life you got, and it's yours. So it's not going to be like somebody else. That's what I said. I can't get on here and do the makeup like the people, because that's what somebody else did. I mean, I do it in my own way. You get the products, and we get the looks, and we get the things. But even still, wrapped in that, I could be talking about, I don't know, the planets, or some type of, I don't know, the animal kingdom or something while I'm doing it. You know what I mean? And I just have to do it in my own way. So I encourage you to live life and do you in your own way, always, especially my ladies, because the power is in the punani. That's where the power is, okay? And y'all got to get out here and act like it. No limitations, especially there's no limitation, and then there's no boxes. Even if it got your name on it, you put some other stuff in it and leave it there. Or you might want to take it with you, but don't hold on to it too long. You know? And so you got to live the best life that you got for you in any way that it becomes present to you, present and available to you. Is there anything else, my lovely Lux people, before I get out of here? Again, I thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to be on here, kicking the shits, spitting the shits with the folks. Please be sure to subscribe next time, this time, because these lives will be subscriber only. This is where we're going. You look like that with those glasses. I do love this filter. So these lives will be subscriber only eventually, sooner rather than later, like my closing is. Just more intimate and, like, you know, build the brand, build the company, build the collective. Hopefully you appreciate that and what is being provided here to do things like that. But until next time, I will see you sooner rather than later.